Hi, my name is Meander. I am the sole proprietor of Calico Fursuits, and I'm the primary maker of all the suits that I have. And thank you for purchasing my hand paw kits that I sold, and for supporting me. Through this video, I will be helping you make those hand paws and doing the methods to how to make them in the best possible way. So go ahead and grab your needles and your threads and let's get started. Okay, so please make sure to watch the whole video before you start your project. You want to make sure you have the context for everything that you're doing. So first thing first, let's take out everything that was in the kit and have a look. You have 10 finger pads for the bottom of the fingers, 4 labeled L, 4 labeled S, and 2 labeled M, for long, small, and medium respectively. You have 10 finger top pieces, also labeled L, S, and M. Each one matches with the letter to make sure that the finger is put together completely. You also have 4 hand pieces, 2 palms with the paw pads attached, and 2 hand backs, which are blank. You also have 10 squares of liner fabric. Over there it's blue with the one in this kit is blue with snails on it. That will be used to stuff and plump out the fingers. Lastly, you have bias tape, which I made myself, which will go along the wrist edge when you're done. That will make it softer and make not a raw edge. Now that you're familiarized with the pieces that come in the kit, let's move on to what you'll need. Okay, so you don't actually need much to complete this project. No sewing machine is required, but you will need a quality, strong hand quilting needle like this one. You'll see it's thick, pointy, very sharp, but won't bend easy, does not bend. And this bold hand quilting thread from Coates & Clark. I highly recommend this kind exactly, as it is strong, has enough friction to grip onto itself without coming undone in its knots. It's not smooth at all. You can find this in most Joann's stores or on their website, but also most craft stores will have at least a comparable version, if not this exact one. Choose a color that matches the fur that you bought or you have. You will also need a handful of polyfill to stuff the fingers with. A small bag should do plenty. This is like more than enough, and it's just like a handful. Lastly, if you do have a sewing machine and you use it to add the bias tape at the end for a more finished look, but hand stitching is just fine for that too. And of course you'll need sharp threads, fabric, scissors. Let's move on to the type of stitch you'll be using. All right, so this is called a blanket stitch. First, you need to put the thread through the eye of the needle. Wait for it to focus here. And then pull a nice long length of thread off the spool. And cut it. Making sure that the needle is in the middle of this nice long piece of thread. You see that I have it bent in half and the needle is in the middle. Now we're going to make a knot at the end of the thread. So with both ends together, pinch the thread through your thumb and pointer finger. Then wrap with the other thread in your other hand. Wrap it around your pointer and your middle finger at least twice. More if you'd like a stronger knot. And then take this side and put it underneath and through the gap in between your fingers. And then take your pinky, pull it off your fingers into a knot. We're going to tie it, pull it nice and tight. I like to use my fingernails to make sure the knot is as tight as it gets. And then we're going to trim the excess. Now you're ready to stitch. So we'll get our piece of fur. So to start your stitch, push the needle through the start, only about halfway. And pull it through, letting the knot catch where we're going to begin our stitch. Next, we'll pull the needle back along the same side we started on before, pushing it about halfway. Take the thread that's coming on the other side and loop it around the needle about twice. And then take your other hand and pull it through. And watch as it comes and makes a stitch. Pull tight, use your fingernail, push it down, and there's a stitch. So let's go ahead and stitch up the rest of this dart here. Halfway, wrap around, pull out. Halfway, wrap around, pull out. When we reach the end of the way that you're stitching, we're going to make our stitch at the end, and then we'll go back up one little bit, like it's about 1/8 an inch between stitches. And we're going to wrap it around a few more times. We're going to wrap it around like 3 or 4 times instead of 2. 1, 2, 3, 4, because we don't want this stitch coming undone. All right, so now do this until you run out of thread or until you reach the end of the stitch. And then you can cut it at the very end. There you go. It's a stitch. Okay, now we're officially ready to get started. So the first thing you want to do to putting together your hand paws is we're going to take all of the tops of the fingers. They all look like this, either with an L, an M, or an S written on it. We're going to start by folding it over like this. First like this, then like this. And sew down this edge. This is called a dart. It adds a 3D effect to the fingers, and it'll make it plushy and bulgy like that. So we'll go ahead and sew it down. Now, if you are going to be putting claws into your fingers, I usually recommend the DVC Dream Vision Creations brand. If you're going to do that, leave a little bit of stitch at the bottom of this dart. Do not sew up the end if you're going to put in claws, because you will use that gap to put in claws when you're done. But if you're not going to add claws, then just sew it all the way up. You're going to do that for every finger top. 10 total. Okay, so once you have sewn up all the tops of the fingers, you're going to match L for L. Let's find L. Here's an L finger tap, and here's a L finger top. We're going to match them up like that. S for S. Let's find there's an S. And here's an S top. Goes like that. And M for M. M finger bottom and finger top, like that. And you're going to sew the blanket stitch from the bottom edge here all the way around, like right here, like so. You want to make sure that when you're sewing, you tuck the fur inside the seam so you don't catch it in the seam while you're sewing. Around the edge here. And there it is. One finger done. Now just to do that 9 more times. Okay, so now place your hands together, the palm on the top, and you're going to sew down the sides, including the spot in the middle between the forefingers and the thumb. But you'll leave a hole open for the thumb and for the fingers on the top. Okay, so here is the hand all sewn up like I said. Stitch down to the bottom. This stitch between the fingers and the thumb, and this stitch on the outside of the hand. So the first finger that you're going to attach is the thumb. Now the thumb is kind of funny because it is angled up towards the fingers. So like when your hand is like this, it's not like this. So what you're going to do is you're going to kind of give it about an inch in. That's where this seam is going to meet the hand. So you'll kind of start sewing right about there. So what I recommend doing is putting the needle through the seam here which is an S, by the way. Keep putting it about an inch in there, about like just about halfway in on the thumb opening. And then there it is. Now it's now you can freely go around without having to worry too much about things getting slipped around. Hi, Holly. Go ahead and finish this off screen. Okay, so got the thumb attached all the way around on the hole, on the thumb hole. Now is where it gets kind of tricky. So the fingers connect on a hand like this, right? Medium, the M, is for the pointer finger. L is for the middle finger. Another L is for the ring finger, and S is for the pinky. So it goes M, L, L, S. M, L, L, S. And it'll go in this way for the other hand too, but in the M, L, L, S. Just M, L, L, S in the other direction. So in order to get these to sew onto this, what you first have to do is connect the fingers together. So what you're going to do is kind of like make them a little bit flat like this. Oops. And so right in here, just about 3/4 of an inch right in there. I'll show you how it's done. All right, so we got your medium and your L, which are going to connect together. Start out right here, because why not? Sewing along the finger crotches like this will give it really strong connections when the hand is complete, so it won't be likely to come off. Oops. About all you really need. You can see right there. Okay, now I'm going to connect the next L next to this other L. Oh, by the way, if you ever have a situation where the edges that come up together don't match up really exactly. What you can do is just take your fabric scissors and just trim it so it smooths out, so it's more even. Just like that. You don't want to get in the habit of doing that. Obviously you want your pieces to match up cleanly, but if it's just a little bit, that's fine. This part is a bit tricky because the pieces like to flop around a bit. Okay, got one more finger to add. Just need to put the S and the last L there. All right, here we go. All the fingers are sewn together. Look at that, makes a nice arch. So obviously you want 2 of these, one for each hand, M, L, L, S, and the other one go M, L, L, S. And these are going to connect up the hand like so. You're going to sew this edge, those edges up like that. It's kind of hard to do this one-handed, but all along there, and then you'll do it around the back side too. So flip it over, all along there with these little notches, kind of showing the vague guide of where the seam, the crochet seam will end, the inseam of the fingers will connect up for. It's really just a guideline, but yeah, that's where it's supposed to go. Sometimes you'll notice when the thread loops together, it'll keep it from going through the fabric at the bottom. A good way to just stop it from doing that is just like pulling out the thread like backwards and evening it out with your thumb. Okay, so once you've sewn the front, just go ahead, flip it over, and sew right along the back. If you still have some thread, you don't even have to cut it and start a new stitch. Just keep going. All right, so here we go. All the seams are sewn together, front and back. Now the hand is in one piece. Hooray! Now we come to a bit of a trickier part. We're going to add the stuffing. Well, not the stuffing quite yet, but the parts that will make the stuffing pillow in the inside. So you're going to take your liner fabric. You got 10 pieces in your kit. And I made them purposely bigger because it is going to be tricky to put them inside out. I'll explain that later. But what you're going to do is put right side onto the finger pad, like so. Pop, like that. You're going to match up the top of the fabric to the top of the finger, like so. And you're going to start to sew around like this. Just go around. And they're just squares. They're not circles. Because this part can get kind of like artistic. I'll show you what I mean. So we've come to the circle here, to the round edge as opposed to this is a square edge. So just take your scissors and just trim them, trim the box square as you go into the shape that you are going to need. Got it? If you ever get these extra loops and you don't understand why, just pull on the fabric. It just means that one didn't get put all the way through. We're making our way around a finger. I will say this, it is, when you're done with this, you're going to flip this over, like so, and sew along the bottom, like that. So it's kind of hard to do that if it's super tight. So what I like to do is give it a bit of extra room down here. So you can pull this down a little bit, so it's got extra room, and then trim this top part so it's not as tight. you're gonna keep sewing all the way around, all the way to the bottom right here. Do not sew over here yet. Do not. Just to the bottom. All right, here we go. Got it all sewn together. You'll see that there's a big gap down here, big patch of fabric. Don't worry about it yet. So you're going to add these fabric, this little piece of fabric. You have enough for every finger, every bottom part of the finger. Okay, and when you're done with that, then go ahead and flip it over onto the top part of the finger. And now the fabric is right side up. So if you are adding claws, do not stuff the fingers. If you are not adding claws, go ahead and stuff the fingers. So I'll go ahead and do that now. For some stuffing. All right, so got some stuffing here. Just go ahead, open up this little pocket that you got with the nice edge and just stuff a whole bunch in. Not too much. Just enough to get it all poofy. Make it a little comfy. All right, there we go. So, that's looking good. See? Now, when all the fingers are stuffed, you can go ahead and sew them up. If you are adding claws, don't add the stuffing, but do sew them up. All right, I know that's tricky. You'll be adding the stuffing after you pull them inside out, after you pull the hand paws right side out. So, since there's a lot of extra fabric down here, it's okay if it wrinkles up. That's fine. All you need to do is just close it up. No one's gonna see this part. It's okay. Just bunch it up if you need to. You can cut the excess fabric off if you want. I don't do that, but you can if you want. It's no difference. Or you can just tuck it in like I do. There it is, all closed up. See? One finger down, 9 more to go. All right, so got all the padding sewn onto the fingers. Now it's time to push the hand outside out. This is kind of tricky. You want to be firm enough that you get it through, but you don't want to push hard enough that you'll break any of the threads. It is kind of hard to break the thread, but it can still happen, so you just want to be as gentle as is possible. Use your thumb, kind of push out each finger. There goes one. There goes another. Okay. 3. Finger, kind of push it out like that. Oh, one left. There it is. You have completed your hand. And you can take it out and have a look. Put it on if you want. Okay, so you've got your hand done. Go ahead, put your hand on in and take a look. You can feel proud, you did it. Now you just have to add the cuff at the end. Oh, pay no mind to my really messy studio. Prepping for the con right now. So here's the cuff material called bias tape. I just call it the cuff most of the time. So what you're gonna do is take one side of it, you'll see it's like in half. Take one side and put it over, put one side over in the inside edge like that. And then you're gonna sew along this end all the way around, okay? All the way around. And then when you get to the end, you're gonna cut it and then fold it in half just a little bit to go over the other edge. Like that. Okay? So that the raw edge is not showing. And then you're gonna fold it over the front side. Now this is like that. Okay? And you'll sew along that side, coming along to that completed edge. I usually do it with a sewing machine, so if you have a sewing machine, that's great, go ahead, do that. But if not, you can do it by hand sewing too. Same blanket stitch is fine. Here, I'll go ahead and do it with the sewing machine so you can see how it's done. My desk is super messy right now, so sorry about that. So there, see it's folded in half. Take that part, put it on top of the inside part. And you're gonna sew it around. Moving it around. When you come along to the end here, all the way back to where you started, you're going to take the part that loops over, give a little bit of excess, just go ahead and trim it. Scissors are really dull. And bend it over like that. see that we have a nice clean edge right there. And you're just gonna go ahead and fold it over and do the same thing for this outside side. Take a look. Finished outside and finished inside. All right, and with that, you're done. If you are adding claws, forgot to mention, you will have left a little hole in front here. Through that hole, go ahead and stuff some stuffing. And since you closed up the hole for the stuffing, the pad on the inside, it'll be secure in there. Just go ahead, stuff it through there, and then take a claw and shove it into that little hole. It's going to be tight. You want it to be tight. It's going to be secure in there. And because all you really need is a tiny dab of glue on the side of that claw, and you close it up and close up the fur on the side of the claw with the glue, and you'll have a paw pads.